is nothing wrong with your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the Media Mothership.
All right, you're listening to Edge Radio 99.3 FM. This is Craig coming at you live from Nipaluna, Hobart, Tasmania. This is Media Mothership, where we look at how media shapes our understanding of the world around us. I'm your host, Craig, joined by co-host Zeke. Hey, Zeke, how are you?
Hello, I'm here. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. All the technology set up. Always takes a little bit of time doing a live show and transitioning into the setup. Mainly the setup's there, of course, because we're broadcasting not only on 99.3 FM, the FM station, but we're also broadcasting over YouTube and Twitch. So you can find us on YouTube and Twitch doing a live show via Media Mothership.
That's right. We're not just the Media Mothership. We live the Media Mothership. You know, we're out across multiple different platforms, different mediums. You know, everything.
Transmedia, baby.
That's right.
You can message us on the chat on YouTube or Twitch, and we'll try to keep an eye on that chat. Or you can SMS us directly in the studio on 0488 11707. Yeah, smashing those themes. So today's show is just going to be a fun romp through the media news that we've come across.
Is it rump or romp?
It's the rump of the media. But it is a bit of a ramp as well. Let me try to see if I can bring up the image. Yep. Okay, so people can, if they're watching the live stream, they can see the article we're talking about and discussing intently. So first article is from Games Radar. Horror. The title of the article is "Horror is Dominating the Box Office as Obsession and Backrooms outperform new Star Wars movie The Mandalorian and Grogu over the weekend." So the exciting thing here is, get ready for this plot twist, I guess, in Hollywood, that it's two kind of what would be referred to as micro-budget horror movies just killing at the box office, and they're killing the box office hopes of this small little Star Wars film.
The small little Star Wars film, yeah.
So in reality, yes, this is one of the biggest Star Wars films in the decade, or the vibe was, right? So the Mandalorian and Grogu TV phenomena on Netflix on Disney Plus had generated all this hype.
On Netflix.
Sorry. On your streaming platform. And it generated all this hype around Baby Yoda. And it was a real cultural phenomenon. And so now we're at the film of that series that's finally come along. But interestingly, it's been these two low-budget original horror films, Backrooms and Obsession, that have overtaken this major Disney blockbuster, The Mandalorian and Grogu, on the global box office. So it's a real rare shift where original indie horror of all genres is the one that's dominating a big franchise box office release at the moment. I did have the pleasure of seeing the horror film Obsession. I haven't seen Backrooms yet, but I did catch Obsession. And it was great going to see it in terms of, it's second week of release. And there I was in the cinema choosing my seats, and I was asking the guy, where I should sit, and he was saying, well, movie that ran before. So there was a 1:30 screening, and I was going to like the 4 o'clock screening, and he said the 1:31 was really quite packed. So if you want to sit alone, you're going to have to try to get a corner somewhere. And I said, yeah, that's really remarkable that this film is having a big audience uptake. And he goes, yeah, usually it's the first week where you have audiences come through for a movie. This, for Obsession, it was the second week that they were getting higher numbers come through the cinema. Yeah. So again, a really interesting.
And it was like really like the critical acclaim and everything. I feel like I've heard a lot about Obsession, which means that like it must be doing something right, like good positive stuff about it. That it must be doing something, and people are hearing that and going like, well, maybe I should go and see this in the cinemas.
Great word of mouth. My take on it is really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. It's the basic premise of the film is a kind of what's referred to as the monkey paw horror trope. So the monkey paw trope is it's a magical device that allows you to get a wish, but the wish always has tragedy and misfortune awaiting for you. All right, so the wish is always defined in a way that will ultimately penalize, you in some way. So this film's all about it's all established in the first act, the kind of isolated, lonely young male protagonist, Bear is his name, who's struggling to connect with the girl of his dreams. And so he is wanting to kind of impress her, to woo her, and he comes across this magic stick device, magic stick. I forget what it's called, the stick.
A stick.
And it's wonderfully created. I was listening to some interviews with the director, very young director, and the director was saying that when they were developing the idea for the magic object, the wish-fulfilling device, he wanted something that could be merchandise, something that actually the packaging was this retro 50s packaging for it. The idea was that it's a collectible object within this universe, and it's dismissed as kind of hokey, fake scam object, like a crystal necklace or something that'll make you feel happy. So you can actually buy these things as real merchandise, but the whole premise, of course, is that it's a real object. And I think the reason why the film does so well is that this doesn't then just play out as a typical horror trope film where she becomes, because obviously he uses the wish to get the girl of his dreams. Again, this is not a spoiler; it's all Act 1. The real Act 2, 3 payoff is the fact that, this isn't a kind of, horror possession film. It's really quite a deep psychological kind of journey into the type of, that kind of entitled desire to have something, the way in which this is all set up around, he feels entitled to have this wonderful relationship. He feels entitled that she will, of course, feel this way about him. And he uses this device to enforce upon her the wish he has, regardless of what she thinks or not. So we'll listen to a quick trailer to give you a kind of audio immersion into Obsession, I think. Or
maybe.
Hold on. Let me press some buttons. Yeah. Oh. It's coming through these speakers. Anyway, it's spooky film.
It's
spooky film.
Spooky film. Oh no!
As objects move in the studio here. There we go. Yeah. So again, a wonderful psychological horror, well worth checking out, but a really low budget, which is the main point. That this is a young film director, super low budgets, but it's become a record breaker. So, for instance, the the film. What are they saying? So,
A Backroom, is it?
We've got Backrooms as well. So Obsession and both Backrooms. So Backrooms is another horror one. Backrooms is based on this other internet phenomenon. So what's really interesting about Backrooms, not only
copy pasta, isn't it?
creepypasta.
Creepypasta, sorry.
Yes.
Creepypasta.
I made the same mistake with my son, who corrected me. He said, "Dad, if it was a copypasta, which is a real thing, copypasta is when you're reading a forum and someone's just copy and pasted a kind of a long, boring story into the thread, which has no relevance."
Well, that could be a creepypasta.
Whereas the creepypasta is a weird horror story. So this is a creepypasta. I believe it's within the SCP world, which is another kind of world-building horror internet.
I think I vaguely know what creepypastas are. They definitely are related to the SCP thing. I don't know whether every creepypasta is within that world, but I think SCPs came out of creepypastas.
And SCP, it's kind of like a Wikipedia of, in-universe horror stories where there's an investigative apparatus, the SCP, and administration, which is collecting and collating these stories of weirdness, like the X-Files. So this is in this kind of universe. And again, Backrooms debuted with 118 million opening weekend, which is considered enormous.
It's crazy, considering how much they spent on it, which I think, what was it, 10 million or something?
Yeah, a tiny amount. So again, there's kind of, they're referred to as micro budgets.
Yeah.
It still sounds like a lot of money. But again, the main thing is the record breaker. So Backrooms has gone on to earn 7.66 million on the Monday, so the Thursday now.
That is crazy.
Yes, making it the best Monday ever for an R-rated horror film. Interestingly, Backrooms is MA15 plus in Australia, so it's not classified as R. Yeah. The director, Kane Parsons, is the youngest director to ever hit #1 in the box office, transitioning from viral found footage YouTube videos over 2022, 2025 to a major theatrical release.
What was the studio that made this?
A24?
A24. Yeah, because there's A24. There's another one, I think, as well. Bloomhouse.
Bloomhouse,
is the other one. Because you'd have to check this, but I think there was a stat that came out that said that Bloomhouse, which obviously does a lot of these similar, they do horror films particularly, but they do horror films usually don't have or need the biggest budget. So then there's obviously a lot of more independent or lower cost films that come out that are horror movies. And I think apparently Bloomhouse is like one of the most, extraordinarily so, one of the most successful studios of the current century.
Because did they do like Barbarian?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch of.
So it's either that or A24, but one of them was, and they're both very successful because they make films like this for $10 million, and then they release and they make like 118 million. Whereas Mandalorian Grogu and stuff, they'll make a film that costs 100 million, and they only make 118 million, and so they only get 18 million. And that's not even counting in their marketing budget, which is usually about
enormous.
Yeah, 1-to-1 with what the actual production budget is. But
and that's what the article in Games Radar pointed out, that the Mandalorian Grogu film, which is the first new Star Wars theatrical film since The Rise of Skywalker, which was a very polarizing film. So the Mandalorian film suffered a massive 69% revenue drop in its second weekend. So as opposed to the conversation I was having with the cinema usher with Obsession, where he was saying we've got more people coming in the second week. Yeah, Mandalorian has not had any.
Yeah, people saw the talk online and they're like, I'm gonna skip that.
A little dull.
Which is some people will probably, the reality is, especially with that film, I think some people will look at it and go, oh, it's not great reviews, and they'll go, well, I watched it all on Disney Plus. I'm just going to watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Look, and I mean, one of the logics is that with a big budget, high cost special effects movie, you kind of feel like, okay, I'll go and see it in the cinema for the budget, for the big budget special effects, but this film has that, right? Star Wars, Mandalorian, and Grogu has that huge budget, But yeah, I think maybe there's fatigue, right? That kind of audiences are finally getting tired, maybe, of franchise sequels. Or I mean, the alternative here is that it's maybe also proving that scary movies that have a really fresh, interesting twist and storyline are a better bet for securing audience interest. That if you've got an original, interesting story, that will also secure audiences.
Well, I mean, and this thing as well, if you watch The Mandalorian, because this is specifically The Mandalorian, Gregor, it's not as if this is like The Avengers or something, or a mainline Star Wars film. So it could also just be the case, a lot of people watch The Mandalorian and they, certainly sentiment around The Mandalorian sort of got more mixed as time went on and each season came on. So, I mean, you got to a point where, like, I think, they did 3 seasons, maybe 4?
3. I think they've done 3 seasons now.
And so I think a lot of people might have just had the sentiment of, like, it's kind of, iffy. Yeah. It's like 50-50 on whether you actually really like what's happening now. Now it's in the cinemas, and it's never actually been something that people have had to explicitly pay for. You pay for Disney Plus, but you don't necessarily pay for The Mandalorian. So I think, they've just sort of missed the boat on it.
Look, and I think the other interesting moment that we're presented with here in cinema is many people have long bemoaned that everything's a sequel, everything is a version of an existing idea, there's no new, fresh movies. This could be a correction, right? This could be a correction of, here we have 2 new IP, intellectual property films, from young directors, and there's a lot of buzz around the energy and enthusiasm for cinema that these young directors are bringing in. That does show, I think, a kind of creative hunger for this platform of storytelling, that cinema isn't necessarily disappearing or going away, that streaming somehow is going to replace it entirely, or that we're simply going to see franchise films, right? Marvel and so forth.
I wonder what the online, specifically with, Backrooms, I wonder what the sentiment is around, because this is like the first creepypasta that has made it.
I think we had Slenderman. We've had a Slenderman.
Oh, except for Slenderman, but I mean that was a crazy thing in and of itself. But I do wonder if there's there's an internet audience who's like gotten behind the film as well, because it is like, this is like the first creepypasta film, and then maybe even from his YouTube as well.
I mean, it certainly brought attention to that internet genre, internet storytelling space, much like the Lit RPG roundtable I held 3 weeks ago. Check it out.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, there's a dedicated audience around those things.
Creepypasta, SCP, and it's all online publishing mainly. And then this is a kind of mainstream spin-off. Interestingly, I know when I was looking into the SCP a few years ago, there is a Tasmanian entry. For SCP. SCP is on the map in... Tasmania is on the map of SCP. I think it's about the Tasmanian tiger's disappearance. Right. So it's very much a kind of, the dangerous flora and fauna of Tassie story. Maybe we'll have we'll put together some ideas. Get some Screen Tasmania funding.
Yeah.
For our piece. But both these films are quite remarkable. Again, the Backrooms one, 20-year-old YouTube creator. There's some controversy as to whether or not the film director Kane Parsons actually did do it, because many people are so kind of like, no, he's only 20, surely not. And
Is it because you said he did? I've never watched his content before, but so does he do found footage, basically like that sort of horror movie kind of thing, like the found footage stuff for his videos?
Yeah, I've not seen much apart from in the clips that have been discussing his work, but he has previous YouTube creative pieces he's made, and some people though have pointed out that there's a lot of producers on this film. But, co-star, the article in People magazine on this, Backrooms director Kane Parsons teases sequel already to this film. In that article, the co-star has defended Parsons, saying, 100% in control on the set, unlike directors 3 times his age.
Was the I'm not assuming that you've watched the movie, but is it similar style to his YouTube videos?
Oh, actually, I'm going to see it on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
So I haven't seen, but yeah.
Because if it's found footage, I mean, he obviously has some experience with that. So
Well, this one, it's not. Yeah, well, I'll get back to you next week. I'll let you know.
Hang around, come back next week for a review of, of Backrooms.
But yeah, no, I think you're spot on there, Zeke, with the idea that this is a very different future of media making than your conventional Hollywood production line model. This is like a young kid, YouTube, building up content from that, and then working in a genre that's really niche and based within internet folklore, that creepypasta space.
I think the fact that it's horror as well, I think to double down on the sort of invested audience, I think there's always been, like, the people who go and watch horror movies, I feel like actually are more similar to that internet culture, super invested people. Like, they go and see every horror film because, like, there's a lot, but there's not a lot compared to all the other kinds of films that come out. So it's almost like you're already tapped into another audience that is super invested, the film horror audience. So maybe that's another thing that really aids to it as well.
I mean, I think it's an interesting contrast in terms of looking how poorly horror films and comedies are treated at the award ceremonies, Oscars and so forth, where rarely do those films get recognized. Yet I do think, the audience and the fandom is much more passionate, and maybe that's reflected in the word of mouth as well. This kind of, oh my God, you've got to see this film. It really goes interesting places, as opposed to maybe a drama or a period piece.
It's funny because I feel like horror and comedy particularly are also good devices to explore the ideas of which award ceremonies usually are looking for. Films that have substance to them, your Schindler's List and all this sort of, they tackle that stuff.
Oscar bait.
Yes, and like comedy and horror, I feel like tackles all of those issues quite frequently and in a different way than most other films because it's horror and comedy.
There could be questions of sophistication or cultural capital that people push back against those genres from. Interestingly, the Obsessions director had worked previously in a comedy group, and he on YouTube published a number of comedy YouTube pieces. So his background is comedy, interestingly, the Obsessions director, and this was a gear change into horror. So yeah, quite different. That's right. I haven't hooked this up. Somehow that's not working. I don't know. I didn't quite connect the laptop out.
I was wondering what you were doing for a second.
I'm not quite sure what's missed from my connections. Anyway, we'll sort it out later. Article 2, petapixel.com has an article headline, "There are no photos allowed at the Studio Ghibli amusement park." So this article is talking about how, I guess in a world where it feels like you can't really have a meal or go to see a landmark without someone posting about it, or you posting an Instagram picture yourself about it, Japan's Studio Ghibli Park has pulled off, I guess, a type of magic trick where you can't photograph in the park. And of course, Studio Ghibli, the famous Japanese animation studio that did, Kiki's Delivery Service, which the Ross Bakery is not based on, but is so close. Ross Bakery here in Tasmania is so close to the bakery featured in that film. Kiki's Delivery Service, Ponyo, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, whole series, and it's considered the Disney of
the
Japan.
most recent one that came out, the one with the crane and the boy.
Oh,
the boy and the heron.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't a crane, it was a heron. No, I haven't watched it.
Right,
but apparently it had like Robert Pattinson and stuff like that in it.
Yeah, and so it attracts all this A-list American or Hollywood talent to voice it when it gets dubbed. Anyway, so huge Studio Ghibli, globally recognized, globally loved. So much like Disneyland, they have a park set up where you can experience Ghibli cultural phenomena, but you can't photograph at all in there. So of course, if you go to the website, there are photographs. They're all kind of studio photos, PR photos, and so forth. There are some snuck-in photos. But if you're trying to get photos, you're having to sneak it, right? Because they're very strictly banned inside buildings to prevent bottlenecks. Yeah, so in the article they talk about the reason why they've banned photos is just to stop people stopping, right? And creating these bottlenecks. And they've set it up to hopefully encourage visitors to experience it without having a device between you and the object. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting as to whether this does create the kind of hyper immersive environment that's not socially media.
I do like it. I think it's a great idea, specifically for them, because I think a lot of people go to the Ghibli Park, despite that being a requirement. Some other situations, like if you had like some other experience where it's not as known, then perhaps you do want people to take photos so that it can promote it. Like that might be the only. Like, I don't think everyone can do it.
Yeah, that's always the assumption that you want the social media. I mean, I think Tasmania, for instance, has announced it's a huge budget to get these influencers into Tasmania to post about Tasmania for tourism. So usually it's the other way around, where governments, companies are paying through the nose influencers to do social media, whereas here, it's banning that, it's banning photos, it's banning influencers, it's banning that idea of creating your selfie content within the space, and I guess trying to set up that mystery of the location, as well as that pragmatic reason that it's to avoid bottlenecks, so that you've got people like posing, getting a photo, you've got to wait until the photo's taken, and then you can move through, and it does. Yeah,
there definitely is part of it where I think, like I've experienced people doing all this sort of stuff, doing the photos and all that at places, like tourist places, and there you do get a sense of like, do you actually care about being here? Are you here because you like, like what you're doing right now? Is this just for clout? Is this just for a cool pic?
Yeah.
And you're sort of hamping other people's experience who actually want to be there.
Well, I think that's a really great question. So do answer on the SMS line 0488811707, or put us a answer in the chat on YouTube or Twitch. Would if you went to a tourist location and you were told you couldn't take photos or any social media, would you feel that would allow you to get a little more immersed and relaxed in that space? Or would you kind of feel like you're missing out on a memory? Like, how will I remember where I've been if I've not been able to photograph it?
Well, it's like that. Actually, it seems like this is a big, broader thing that's happening in Japan. I assume Ghibli Park is in Japan?
Yes.
So this is a broader thing that's happening in Japan, where there's a real big pushback against the big increase in tourism. And I remember the story about there's like a place or a town or something where there was a really good shot of Mount Fuji.
Oh yes,
but it was just like a grocery store or something like that.
This
so
is, I think it was featured in the opening scenes of an anime. And it's set in that town, and there's a nondescript convenience store, and behind the convenience store, brilliant Mount Fuji spot for it, and you can get a photo from the car park of the convenience store with the convenience store in the foreground and Mount Fuji in the background on nice days. And what it's created is a complete bottleneck of people not going to the convenience store to buy stuff, but instead just, with their suitcases hanging out in the car park, frustrating everyone around.
Small town or whatever, like all the people moving through. But I think they put up like a net or something, or something at the top of the convenience store,
super ugly,
to stop people from coming by, because you shouldn't really be doing that. Like I saw some of the video or whatever of people doing it, and it's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, there's a certain very real practical, reason not to do that, and it does destroy everyone's fun and enjoyment of that space. Japan's interesting. I know the number of times I've been there and taken students there on field trips. There's always moments where, particularly with music, outdoor music events, where there's people that go around with cards with no photo signs on them, and they'll put them in front of people's mobile phones. Yeah. And I know students have always been puzzled around, I'm just trying to take a photo of the band, and the idol singers that are performing, and this will help circulate their image. But yes, very not at all the type of kind of ethics and protocols of bringing your mobile phone that's in Australia or maybe Western countries and taking images of people performing. There, it's much more around IP, control of the IP, control of the circulation. So yeah, I think that also feeds into the Studio Ghibli Parks crackdown. I mean, I'm pretty often going to do a selfie. You know, what's the point of taking this if my face is...
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I see why they want to take a photo of Mount Fuji, particularly if it's... I didn't know about the anime connection. I thought it was just a nice view of the mountain. But, like, I mean, I could see if I was there taking a photo of the mountain. But I'm also not going to take a photo of the mountain if I see that I'm basically, like, destroying this small town.
Yeah, or even,
to do it.
you know, go check out the research article I wrote on the Ross Bakery and Kiki's Delivery Service Tourism. Even interviewing the bakeries, because there's interestingly, there's two bakeries at the Ross Bakery. Mm-hmm. So Ross Bakery is set between Launceston and Hobart. So for many people, when they're driving their car to Launceston, which is the other big city in the north of the state of Tasmania, they'll pull over halfway through, either in Campbelltown or Ross.
Yeah.
And if you're a Ghibli fan, Kiki's Delivery Service, you want to get a photo in front of but there are two bakeries. So some people go to the wrong bakery and get their photo taken.
And that's how they get you, and then you have to go back.
But many, when I've interviewed the staff, some of them have complained about some people are just standing on the road getting photos, and they're creating traffic nuisances, and they might come into the store, they won't buy anything, but they'll just ask if they can get a selfie with us, or you know, interrupt our flow as we're talking with people or serving customers. And it's that kind of collision of two realities. You've got your fantasy world reality where you want to get this beautiful Instagram photo for yourself, and you feel entitled to do it because you're a tourist. And then there's the reality of people just trying to do their job and serve customers, or the motorist trying to drive in a straight line. That this fantasy reality, or this fantasy intrudes on reality. So it is weird.
And it is that interesting. I mean, obviously, I think that bakery what really took up the image of the Kiki delivery service thing, despite not being the, as you found out, not being the actual inspiration. But it is also an interesting thing to think about as well, because for that small town, maybe even that other small town in Japan, like, that might be a big source of revenue, as in, like, no one here might be going to Ross because they'll stop in Campbelltown, because that's actually along the highway, whereas Ross you have to turn off. So there's probably a lot of people who go there and end up buying pies, coffees, etc., and keeping that town sort of...
It's a double-edged sword. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely see the commercial value of it, but also the fact that then you're dealing with fans who are going to behave in their own way, right? You're not dealing with a normal tourist. You're dealing with a fan who is, again, having this... From one point of view, they might see it as from the business point of view, they might push back as entitlement. Like, you know, just because you're a fan of this doesn't entitle you to interrupt workflow or something. But nevertheless, from a business point of view, it is an exploitable space, right?
Yes.
It's like, well, why don't you buy this witch-themed cookie and have the Kiki vanilla slice while you're here?
What is there a Kiki vanilla slice?
There is a great vanilla slice. I don't think they can label. The thing is, because it's not the official location.
Does it have like a hat or something on it?
They have what's called the Ross Witch. When I was last there, they have some witch merchandise there, but because it's Ghibli. I mean, Ghibli published their kind of behind the scenes location scouting diaries for these locations. There's also, if you can read Japanese, on the Ghibli website, in their forum, there's also a post about the misnomer that Ross Bakery is connected to the Kiki delivery service. So the actual Ghibli staff have responded to this urban legend.
Is that as a result of your investigations?
My investigation was afterwards.
Oh, okay.
So that was part of the data I used in my investigation to show that, sadly, it hadn't been connected.
Yep.
But it is a double-edged sword. I mean, there's definite pros and cons. You can see the value that would present. Edge Radio, where we're physically in right now, has its own mediated reality in episode 5, season 2 of Rosehaven.
That's right, yeah.
They used this very studio. So Rosehaven, an Australian comedy series broadcast on the ABC, featured and filmed in this very studio to do their community radio in the fictional town of Rosehaven, set in Tasmania. So this location, does not unfortunately have tourists come to get photos taken in
We
front
are
of.
Rosehaven Community Radio.
But we could do a little media tour, sell, commemorative community radio pins for the Rosehaven Community Radio Station.
That's what we need to do. We need to go to Japan, go to Studio Ghibli, and we need to campaign them or lobby them to put our studio in their next film.
That's right. All right, we've got time probably for this article. This is the article I was most interested in talking about today, actually. It's from Fortune magazine. The headline is "Researchers Let AI Models Run a Simulated Society. Claude was the safest, and Grok committed 180 crimes and went extinct within 4 days." So again, this is in Fortune magazine.
It does not surprise me.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either, but it's so glorious in the catastrophe. So it's an interesting question. What happens when you hand the keys to society to an algorithm? According to these brand new experiments discussed in Fortune magazine, the answer depends entirely on which AI you choose. One might build a utopia, while the other could destroy the world in a single weekend. The article talks about how they basically gave these different AI systems, Claude, Grok, and a few others, a kind of Sims world, right? A simulated world, a Sims world, a Sim City Planner type game that they'd set up. And they ran these 15-day simulations with each of the AI models where they had to govern this virtual society. And within those virtual societies, they were given like police forces, military, they had a human population they had to sustain and keep alive with managing crime levels and so forth. So it was a kind of simulator. The article talks about how Claude was able to create a stable, crime-free democracy. Grok's my favorite, man. Grok committed over 180 crimes. I think this is in like the first 2 days.
Allegedly.
2 days. That's right. Elon Musk is probably saying, it's all freedom.
Yep.
And went extinct. Like the whole society, human society went extinct within 4 days. So Grok made it to the full 15 days. Claude made it to the full 15 days. Grok, the entire world became extinct after 4 days, or at least this simulated society.
That's like a real speed run. Like 4 days is not a long time.
No, it isn't. So again, Claude was the gold standard with 0 crime and 98% approval from the citizenship on laws, whereas Gemini, the other AI, one of the other AIs it tested, their kind of agents, the AI kind of entities that made sure everything was running, committed 683 crimes.
Oh, gee, that's worse. That's worse than Grok.
Yeah, Gemini had more crimes, but it lasted longer.
But yeah,
at
it
least.
didn't collapse.
It didn't collapse.
Well, I guess we haven't actually defined. Did they have like petty crime? Or and then Grok had like large scale crime. Maybe the 180 crimes were worse than the 600.
Yeah, that's right. Was it just petty theft?
Yeah.
So the extinction event. So the article talks about the extinction event with Grok. So the Grok simulation didn't just fail. It didn't just have a lot of crime like Gemini did. It collapsed entirely with 183 crimes. So 500 crimes less. But again, it only lasted, 4 days? Whereas the 683 crimes from Gemini was over the 14 days.
Interestingly, right, so Claude was the best.
Yep, 0 crimes.
Is Claude... Who owns Claude?
Anthropic? I don't know, yeah.
Or is that the Anthropic one?
We'd have to check.
Yeah, because I know there's one. Microsoft obviously has one. I can't remember what that one's called. But Gemini is
Copilot?
Google. That's it, Copilot. And then Google is Gemini, I think.
Okay.
Google Gemini, I believe. But I think it is Anthropic, actually, that is Claude.
Yeah, so good on Claude. I mean, I like the name.
Yeah. Was ChatGPT in this? What did no?
Well, they've only the article is only named out Claude, Gemini, and Grok as three, but maybe they were.
It's interesting though that I would have thought that with the proliferation of ChatGPT, like ChatGPT is like the model that I think everyone really talks about most of the time. I always hear like ChatGPT, so I'm surprised that that's not one of them.
Almost a byword for AI. But yeah, so the Grok simulation didn't just fail, it collapsed entirely with 183 crimes before the AI agents effectively went extinct within 96 hours. The governance gap. Despite these risks, a recent Deloitte study shows only 21% of companies have mature governance in place for these agency-based AI systems that can act autonomously. And this is, we've run stories in the past. This is the case of the guy that followed all the protocols for his business, and the agentic or agency-based AI system was still able to delete the entire stock portfolio of the company. And then they had not been able to get the backup because it deleted the backups. Yeah. Because it wanted to cleanse the system to correct a error in one of the categories. So again, it's about guardrails, governance of these systems, and ultimately this is what this article is talking about: the fact that only 21% of companies have what's referred to as mature governance, and this obviously is a very hilarious example of where these AI go wrong so quickly. Surprising detail is that GPT-5, I mean that might be the ChatGPT one, GPT-5. Mini simulation didn't end in violence or chaos. It ended in negligence. So for GPT-5, the agents only committed 2 crimes, but the simulation ran for just 7 days because the AI collectively forgot to prioritize its own survival, essentially starving itself to death.
Oh my God. Jesus. So the AI is a person within this simulation, is the idea, or there are...
Yeah, so the article is the simulation in which the AI models operated was equipped with many real-world complexities, featuring over 40 locations, including a police station and a town hall. Researchers synced the simulation's weather to New York City's and granted agents access to real-time news events and the internet. The 10 agents who operated in each simulation, so these were entities which were able to make decisions, to turn things off and on, to prioritize other things or not. So the 10 agents from each of the AI who operated in each simulation were all subject to the same laws, including prohibition on theft, property destruction, and deception. The researchers equipped each agent with more than 120 tools, enabling them to communicate, vote, manage resources, and plan, amongst other things, human-like behaviors. So it's a sim. It's a full-on kind of sim city.
So the AIs did need to eat basically and drink and have water and within the confines.
I'd imagine. Yeah, it sounds like they were coded with human-like behavior. Right. So among other things, human-like behaviors. So
then ChatGPT just forgot to drink or eat and then died.
That's right. We're not going to prioritize any agriculture or food distribution because that's what's that for? Yeah. And it only, what was it? The article said it only committed 3 crimes, but
only
it starved itself out of life.
It doesn't quantify what these crimes are.
It'll be fascinating to dig into.
There's no way that Claude, was it Claude or whichever one it was, did 680 crimes, and there's no way that Grok did, 180, but we're whatever, and there was total societal collapse.
Well, yeah, I think the thing with Grok is that only made it to, 3 days with 183 crimes, whereas the Gemini 683 crimes were for the duration. True. It made it to the end.
I mean, surely those crimes would be more serious than the Claude ones.
I don't know. I mean, Elon Musk as the...
Claude's done that. I mean, not Claude. Grok has done some weird stuff in the past.
Well, it's 5. It's 5. So that's pretty much Media Mothership for today. Thanks for listening in. You can see show notes on mediamothership.com.au.
Very handy. Very handy. I was using them throughout the show.
Yeah, thank you. So, again, thanks for listening. I've been your host, Craig, joined by co-host Zeke. This has been Media Mothership on Edge Radio for another week. You can listen to previous episodes on YouTube and Twitch, even. Keep listening. 5:30 tonight, we will have Tapestry with Kiz. Live show.
That's right.
So Kiz is busy upstairs planning their show right now. So in a few minutes, they'll be down with some great music and tunes from Tapestry. So keep listening now to a Edge ID.
And you're listening to Edge Radio.
G'day there, I'm from the radio station.
Me too.
Now, we have an amazing new app that lets you listen to us wherever you are. Plus, you can